Okay, thank you. So I will repeat what we said, that in Java, the data types is of basically can be grouped into two categories. The one is primitive data types, and the other is anything which comes under object. This object itself can have infinite number of data types because they are created by you as an application developer. Okay, so we'll talk about this when we come to the concepts of classes and objects. So as I said, primitive data types can be thought of as those which are structureless in itself. I gave the analogy of particle physics, something which is not divisible further in itself. Like it is not composed of other things. That those are the elementary types. There is no structure within that. So in primitive data types comes, there are 8, I guess. Let me write: byte, short, char, int, long, float, double, and boolean. These are primitive data types. Means there is no structure within it. You cannot mutate it. By mutation, it means you cannot change a part of it, because that itself in itself is a whole thing. Byte, can you give me what is the size of a byte? How many bits will it acquire?
8 bits.
8 bit.
Correct, 8 bits. Short?
16 bits.
Correct. Excellent. Char? Did I tell you?
32.
2 bytes.
No. Char is also 16 bits.
16
And
bits.
yeah, and that means 2 bytes. Okay. And I will tell you the difference between the char and the other types and what is the significance of char. Okay. Int?
32 bits.
Correct. 32 bits. Long?
64
64 bits.
Correct. Excellent. Float?
32 bits.
32 bits. Excellent. Double?
64 bits.
64 bits. Excellent. Boolean? 8 bits or 1 byte. Okay. So that means depending on the size, it has the given range of numbers which it can hold. And if you remember, how do you get the size? 8 bits, 1 into 2 raised to 7 plus 1 into 2 raised to 6 and so on. And why we have only 7 bits available in a byte, short, etc. is because the most significant bit is used as a signed bit. That is to denote whether the number is positive or negative. So as a result, though byte has 8 bits, the only available bits for storage is 7. For, for short, it is 15. For int, it is 31. For long, it is 63. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So now this, that this is used to hold integer, non-decimal numbers. That is, when I said decimal, not decimal system, I mean the the Mantissa and the precision, like uh, uh, 7.5, that is used, that can be stored only in float. But 7, it's an integer, and that can be stored in byte. And depending on the nature of the data type, you have to decide while programming what variable, what data type should you declare to store the numbers.
Sir,
We'll
I
come
have a
to,
question.
yeah, please go
So,
ahead.
where these primitive data types are used?
Yeah, we'll come to that. So basically, anything, your basic calculation, like in the sense, the, the, the I don't know from which of you. Okay, so in your programming language, when you are programming your logic, most of the times you will be dealing with some sort of numericals, numbers, mathematics, basically. So it will be used almost everywhere. Like there is practically no program which will be written which may not use these data types at all. For example, if you are being asked to devise a class, say some simulator registry of a school or class, there will be notion of roll numbers. So the roll numbers will be primitive data types, mostly int. Okay, then if you want to write loops or something, counters, like when you write a logical program, most of the times you have to write a code such that repetitive tasks are not coded separately. You write a single block of code which will be executed n number of times depending on your logic. So to run those n number of times, you would require a loop. A loop will require an integer counter to increase. So if you start thinking about it, and maybe at some point when we have done a bit of code, like understood the concepts, when you will start your own coding, you will realize that you cannot do away with primitive data types. They will always be there in some form or the other. And we'll come to that. So before that, byte, as you know, byte, short, int, long, they are used to store integer values. That is, which does not have a decimal part. If you have a number which has a decimal part, say you are dealing something with a currency problem. So you will have 7 rupees and 50 pies, something like in a banking ledger. So it will be 7.5. Now 7.5 cannot be stored in any of these byte, short, int, and long. You have to use either a float or a double. Only they can hold the decimal numbers. Boolean, Boolean is a data type which can store only two values, one at a time, of course. It can have either true or false, nothing more than that. Okay. So now let's deal with char. Char is identical to short in all aspects. You can, there is no, internally no difference between a short and a char. But char has a special behavior as far as printing goes, like in the sense when you write to the output. What I mean is this, that let me write a small program to show you the behavior of char, which I think I had done before also. So Okay. So this is how a Java program main and all. Will come to it little later once we have done with the data types. So the thing is that what is this? Yeah. To declare a variable of a data type in Java, we do something like int variable name x equal to 4. That means variable x has now value of 4. Now, and if you want to print something, you use system.out to write it on the console. You do it by this system.out.println, and in which you put the variable to print, say x. So this will result in printing of on the console. When you run this program, it will print 4. Okay. Now, the thing is, we always, most of the time, your program will be dealing with strings. Strings are characters, character literals, like your name. Your name would be composed of alphabets. Now, how does Java deal with alphabets? Okay. Now, the thing is, I will not go into details of the encodings like UTF-8, Unicode. At this point, we'll limit ourselves to simple ASCII encoding. So what happens in computer systems is this, that a character A, which is denoted by this, it has a number associated with it in ASCII. ASCII is a form of encoding, and that number is what it is. Let's see. ASCII table. So you see there is a difference between a small a, capital A, because in terms of printing or in terms of programming, say your name's first alphabet should start with a capital, less lowercase, uppercase, lowercase. So the thing is, if you look at it, the ASCII value of A is 61. Okay. So what happens is that in Java, the characters are stored in a char type variable. That means I can declare something like char x equal to A. Now, when I do this, the thing is, it is not as if that literal A itself is being stored in X. What is getting stored in X is 61. Okay. What is getting stored in X is 61. But when it comes to printing it, when you actually do any printing, or when I say print, it's not just paper printing, say writing to the file or showing it on a console, what will it do when I do system.out.println? It will not print 61. It will print A. So the visual representation of char is different, and the storage value is different. That is the main difference between char and a short. What I mean by this is, if I write short x equal to 61, okay, in this case, if I print x where x is say short, I will get 61. But if I print x here, I will get A as a print. And I will show you what exactly I mean by this program. Notice what I am doing. Okay, this will hopefully make things clear. I am writing short x equal to 4, and if I run the program, what do you think will be printed?
4.
4. Correct. So let's see. 4. Okay. Now let's write char y equal to, oh, okay, I will change it to 61 to be more precise. Okay, at this point. And if I run it again, it will of course print 61. Okay, you see here. Now let me write char x, char y, I cannot declare the same variable again, as a. Okay, and this is x equal to plus x, and this is like printing x equal to the value, and I will print y equal to whatever is the value. So what do you think y will print? This line will print
A.
a. Let's see. Okay, y has printed a. Now let me change, let me add another variable, character z equal to 61, and I will print z also. There is a background noise which is coming. If you're not talking, can you mute? Thank you. So now what do you think z will print?
A.
Correct, a. Reason? Because z is a character type, not a short type. So the visual representation will be ASCII A. Oh, what did I do? Interesting. Is there a mistake which I have done? It should have printed A. Z equal to. Let me see. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, sorry. ASCII of A is, ASCII of equal is 61. This is the ASCII value and this is hex value. So A is actually 97. Sorry, A's ASCII is 97. Let me change it. A's ASCII is 97. Okay, so we see Z equal to A. So I can treat char and short, they are identical in nature. Okay, I will change this also to 97 to show you that X short will print the number while X will print the visual representation. Z and Y are same.
So
So
I have a question.
yeah,
Like A in ASCII is 97. So there was written 61 also. So what was that?
oh, that was wrong. That is, oh, that this is the hexadecimal system. Binary, this is hexadecimal. So you see, there are, I told you in the last session that there is only not just binary number system, there is a decimal, there is binary, there is hexadecimal. In sometimes it is easier to represent a number while coding using hexadecimal, especially when you are dealing with bits masking. We'll come to that, what a masking means. So this is the form of a number system. This is a hexa number system. Let me show you what exactly I mean. Hex decimal system, hex means 6, deci means 10. So hexadecimal has total 16 numbers to represent a number. Binary 2, decimal 10, hex 16, which is 0 to 9. Then 10 is represented as A till 15, which is represented as F. The way you convert a decimal into hexadecimal is the same as you convert binary. For example, if I have to convert 100 into a hexadecimal, what I will do is my divisor will be 16. Mentally, I will remember 16 and then start dividing. Okay, 16, 16 fours are 64, 16 fives are 80. So I will write 5 here, right? I will write 5 here. What is the remainder? 16 fives are
80.
80. So remainder is
20.
Oh no, there is another 20 nahi ho sakta. Then 16 6 are 96. Remainder 4, right? Remainder is so just a second. Just a second. Yeah, remainder is 4.
4.
Yeah. Then since 6 is less than 16, that completes your division, right? So ASCII of 100 in hexadecimal will be 64. Let's check. Hex number is 64. So this is I can have something like your question was that what is this? Why your question was what is 61, right? So if I convert 97 into hexadecimal, the answer is 61. This is the hex notation. If you want to convert 97 into hex, what will it be? Again, 16 fours are 64, right? So 16 6 are 96. 16 6 are 96. So 6 यहाँ पे और 4 इधर, 1 इधर, right? 16 6 are 96, right? So quotient यहाँ पे, the remainder here. So the hexadecimal number is 61. So that is nothing but a hexa notation. Does that answer your question? Was it Shreya or who asked? Does that answer the question? Oh. Hello? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Does your question, is your doubt clear? I mean, you can be frank. If not, I will again explain.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to move ahead without having any lingering. How do I disable this? Okay. So you have understood the difference between char and short, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's look at the data types variables basically. So the thing is, to what are those variables? Variables as in algebraic equation of mathematics, they are used to store data. A variable is used to store data, and a variable's value can change depending on how you want to program it. Now, for example, in this code, the syntax is something like, first part is variable declaration. Okay. And this holds for any, whether with it you are dealing with primitive data type or object data types. First, you have to write the data type. The syntax is like this: data type, variable name, okay, and semicolon. This is the declaration part in Java. This is how you declare a variable: data type and the variable name. Okay. This is called the declaration of a variable. The second part is initialization or defining of the variable. By initialization, we mean giving it a value, some data. Okay. For example, int x, what I am telling Java is that I am declaring a variable whose name is x. That means it is going to be used to store integer values because its data type is int. Then I can do something like x equal to 4. This is, now in this case, the equal to is an assignment operator. That means whatever is the value present on the right side of the assignment operator, put it in the variable x. In reality, it will result in the computer's memory occupying of since it's 8, occupying of 4 bytes, of which 4 will be stored in that 4 bytes, and this location will be stored in the variable x. Okay. Mentally, you have to picture it like this: x variable has this location which contains value 4. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, in case of primitive data types, the assignment operation always results in copying by value. Copying by value for primitive data types. I will write it. And I will explain to you what it means. This is one of the most important things to remember. For primitive data types, assignment operation will always be done using copy by value. What it means is, I am assigning here 4 to variable x. That means on a computer's memory location, say address 0xA1. This is the address. At this address of the computer's memory, 4 is written and the value is assigned to this, and this location address, you can imagine, that is assigned to x. Now, when I write y equal to x, okay, and let me declare another variable int y, okay, and I say y equal to x, what will the value of y be? Because equal to is an assignment operation here in Java. So what it means is, whatever is the value contained in x goes into y. So what will be the value of y?
4.
4. So here, the 4 will get a different address in for, so there will be a copy, basically copy of this data at a different location, and this way location will be given to variable y. Okay, this is what I mean by copying by value. That is, x and y, they are not pointing to the same location. X has a different location, y has a different location. This is the location of y and this is the location of x. So if later I put x equal to 3, now on this location, basically, in fact, to be more precise, x will now get a different location, says 0a4, and the value will be 3. Okay, on x. But what will be the value of y after this line?
4.
Correct. Because the two are separate. Y is on a different memory location as compared to x. So the change in x does not result in the change in y. This holds true for primitive data types. For object data types, we'll see the situation changes, but not now. Right now, we are focusing only on primitive data types. Okay. Now, let's write a small program. Sorry, any question? Okay. So,
Yeah, sir, I have a question.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
tell me.
you have written 0 into A4 and 0 into A4. I didn't understand that part.
This part.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is just a hex memory address. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. This is just a, so the thing is, in computer, every location means wherever you store the binary data, there is an address to that cell. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's how the program will be able to access the memory location and retrieve the data. So what I am trying to say is that this is an hypothetical address 1 and this is address 2. What I want to emphasize is that this address, this cell location is different from this cell location. That is all what I am trying to say.
Okay.
That value contain, though I assigned y to x, but y got a different address for storing 4 and x got a different address for storing this 4. Okay, the address, this is the address of x and this is the address of y. They are two different. That is all what I am trying to tell you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have seen how to declare a variable, how to initialize the variable. Now let's look at the various operators. The operators are nearly the same as you know in mathematics. Plus for addition, then you have minus for division, subtraction, multiplication, division. Then there is greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, then there is equal to itself. This is actual equal to when you are comparing the two conditions. A equals B. A, so there is a difference between y equal to x and y equal to x. Okay, here we are assigning the value of x to y, and here we are comparing, is y same as x or not. So there is equal to operator, then there is a not operator, and I'll tell you what all those are. Okay, and what else? Are there any else?
Percentage.
सॉरी,
परसेंटेज वाला।
हाँ परसेंटेज, रिमाइंडर का परसेंटेज ऑपरेटर। इसके अलावा कुछ और बचता है क्या?
The AND operator.
Correct. AND operator. So there is a difference between and a single and in Java, and this is for bitwise comparison. So when we'll do the masking and mask shifting, we'll deal with and. So and operator, then there will be or operator. Similarly, there is a single or. Then there is, I will skip this thing. This is for XOR sort of thing. So for the time being, I'll skip this. So yeah, those are these. Now, these are plus, minus, multiplication, division. You know what it is. Okay. Mathematical operators. Greater than these four, they are comparison operators, logical operators for comparison. Okay. The output of a comparison operator is always a Boolean, right? Means it can be either true or false. You remember the Boolean data type can be only true or false. That means, say, if I have a variable x equal to 7 and I have a variable y equal to 100, what will be the output of x greater than y?
False.
False. False. So I can actually, you have to mentally imagine that this is going to return a Boolean which will be either true or false depending on the value of x and y. And as you will code and you will require, you can always store this output in a variable z and say z equal to x greater than y. This is a perfectly valid statement because z is declared to be of type Boolean. That means z can store a Boolean value, and comparison operators like this, their output is always a Boolean. So you can write something like this. Now in this case, tell me what will be the value which will get stored in Boolean z?
False.
False.
Correct.
False.
Correct. Right. Because 7 is less than 100. So 7 greater than 100 will be false. If I make it this, what will be the value?
The true.
True.
Correct. Excellent. So you understand all these things. Not operator is simply inverse. It true है तो false हो जाएगा, false है तो true हो जाएगा. So अच्छा, इसके अलावा there was not equal to भी, sorry, एक और not equal to, like x not equal to y. What will be the output of this?
True.
True.
Correct. Correct. True. And what will be the output of this?
True.
Correct.
True.
Excellent. So then, now the logical operators, and maybe I am using the wrong terms. One is arithmetic operator, the other is comparison operators, and these are the logical operators, and or. And or simply this thing like this: Boolean z equal to, say, x greater than 10 or y less than 200. सपोज ये स्टेटमेंट है. सो इसका मतलब ये है कि इधर और ऑपरेटर इज एज इट यू कैन इमेजिन, कंडीशन ए इज ट्रू और कंडीशन वाई इज ट्रू, तो आंसर इज ट्रू. कंडीशन ए is true and y is true, then also the answer is true in case of for. But answer will be false only if both the left operand and the right operand both are false, then only the answer will be false in case of OR operator. So in this case, what do you think the Boolean Z will be?
True.
Correct. True. And in if I do this, then
True. False.
true or false?
True.
True.
False. Right? False, no?
False.
Because x greater than 10 is false, y greater than 200 is also false. So the answer is false. Okay. Both are false, then only the OR condition will become false. In case of AND operator, as it is obvious, unless both the operands true and true, then only the answer is true. If either is false, answer is false. Okay. This is the AND operator, right?
Yes.
Not we have done percentage. Percentage operator is simply giving you the remainder, like, and there is a very important use of percentage operator. I will show you in a loop. Percentage operator is simply like 8 percentage 7. What will be the answer? It will be the remainder, not the quotient. So 8 divided by 7. 7 ones are 7. 8 minus 7 is 1. So the answer will be 1. You are getting, for example, 100 divided by, 100 percentage 5. What will be the answer?
95.
No, 0.
0.
Why, sir?
एक मिनट, नहीं मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, percentage
Remainder.
operator, yeah, remainder 0, right? Percentage
zero.
operator, the remainder will be 0, right? If it is 101, what will be the answer?
1.
1. So you see, percentage operator has this very peculiar behavior कि जब आपको एक रोटेटिंग लॉजिक लिखनी है, उसमें परसेंटेज ऑपरेटर बहुत काम आता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक महीने में 30 दिन है, राइट? 30 डेज, ठीक है. बट आपका वीक शुरू होता है मंडे हर 7वें दिन में, राइट? साइकिल रिपीट हो रही है. अब अगर मेरे को ऐसी लॉजिक लिखनी है कि जिसमें मेरे को पूरे मंथ को इटरेट करना है, बट आई हैव टू do some task on every Monday and some on every Tuesday. Like I want to uniquely identify Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, okay, in each month on a given day, on as I am iterating over the date. Percentage operator is of very good use because percentage operator का ये होता है कि जो remainder है, it can never exceed the divider. Like what I mean to say is, if you look at any operation involving percentage, the answer will never exceed this. It will cycle. What I mean to say is this: जीरो से 100 से चालू, 0 से चालू करते हैं. ओके, 0 से करें क्या, 1 से करते हैं. नहीं, 0 से करते हैं. 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. I hope you will appreciate what I'm trying to say with this, के why it is important. Now let's say ये मेरे x की वैल्यू है, ऐसे बार बार आएगी. ठीक है, कभी x 0 होगा, कभी x 1 होगा, कभी x 2. So now 0% 5, what is the answer? 0. 1% 5, the answer is 1. 2% 5, the answer is 2. 3% 5, the answer is 3. 4% 5, the answer is 4. But now look what happens. 5% 5, answer is 0. 6%
Zero.
5, the answer is 1. 7% 5, the answer is 2. 8% 5, the answer is 3. 9% 5, the answer is 4. 10% 5, the answer is 0. So you see,
Zero.
5.
your cycle is repeating 0 1 2 3 4, and it will never exceed this divisor at any point. Even if you come to say 100% 5, the answer is 0, right? And it will go 0 to 1 till 104, till 4. Okay, so whatever you do, the answer is not going to be more than 4. It is sorry, not going to be more than, will be always less than or equal to 5. So this gives a very powerful tool in case of rotating buffers, or in case of that your cycle repeats after every say 7 days. So let's say my month starts at date 1, and let's say that means, hypothetically, let's say my month first is a Monday, I know, let's say, then it becomes very easy for me to identify every Mondays in that month, right? Because I can always do current day divided by percentage 7. You are getting what I am trying to say? If 1 is Monday, 2 is Tuesday, then I can logically take say 23rd, and whatever is 23rd percentage 7, what will be? 7 3s are 21, remainder 2. So I know that if my first is a Monday, I can, so obviously second will be Tuesday. So I can mathematically immediately find out that 23rd will also be a Tuesday, because I can use this quotient, this remainder operator. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Logically, so there will be
Yes.
cases where you will actually need to write such logic. You cannot actually say कि okay, first मेरा Monday था तो मैं add करते जाता हूँ 7 बार और ये Tuesday. There are shortcuts, and this percentage operator provides that shortcut, right?
Yes.
So this is, and जब हम loops करेंगे तो we will see the one more powerful behavior of this percentage operator. say, okay, we'll do it later now. So abhi tak we are comfortable with operators and the variable, this thing. You are comfortable with this variable declaration and the data type, this thing, this much and all,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So I think मैं अभी start नहीं करना चाहता हूँ, लेकिन Monday को we'll deal with if, else, if, else if, then what if, else if, else, for loop. These are constructs. These constructs are mostly available in all the languages, Java, C++, whatever. While loop, switch case, what else? If else, for, while, switch case. Yeah, for the time being, those will be enough, I suppose. So let's briefly, because in any case 4 minutes ही हैं, तो when you are writing logic, you will always require something like कि अगर condition situation A है तो मुझे कुछ करना है, situation B है तो मुझे कुछ और करना है. तो ऐसे केस में you make use of if else block. What it means is, if condition 1, then execute this part, whatever is here, execute the code in this curly brace block. Else, now you have the option of else directly or else if. You can, let's write this, else if condition is 2, then execute this code. और अगर कुछ भी नहीं मैच होता है तो else. ये आपकी लॉजिक होती है मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम, ऐसा करना पड़ेगा. Where condition 1 is any expression. What is an expression? We call expression is anything like this, or this, or a plus b, or x greater than y. These are called expressions, which is like expression would normally deal with more than 2 variables, more than 1 variable, and some mathematical operator, a greater than b, a plus b, वगैरह. So if any, here condition 1 is any expression which is going to evaluate to Boolean, true or false. For example, here x greater than y. If x greater than y, if this is true, execute this code. Else, if say x equal to y, then execute this code. And the last condition is but obvious, x less than y, या else बोले तो ये code execute करना है. This is what an if else if block is. Is this clear?
Yes,
Yes.
Like, so मैं प्रोग्राम में ऐसे लिख सकता हूँ कि let's me define int x, int a equal to 100, int b equal to 200, and I write something like if a greater than b, then system dot out dot print ln a is, this is what I am doing right now. Okay, that is my trivial code कि ये execute करना है. Else, b is greater than a. Okay, अभी a अगर तो क्या एग्जीक्यूट होगा? ये अगर मैं ये प्रोग्राम चलाता हूं तो इधर इन दोनों में से कौन सी लाइन, या दोनों
Else
एग्जीक्यूट
वाली।
होगी या एक?
सर सेकंड
हाँ।
वाली इज ग्रेटर देन ए।
ए ग्रेटर देन बी, सेकेंड वाली, राइट, बी इज ग्रेटर देन ए, ये एग्जीक्यूट होगी। ठीक है, बी इज ग्रेटर देन ए, क्योंकि कंडीशन इवेल्युएटेड टू फॉल्स, तो ये कोड एग्जीक्यूट नहीं होगा, ये वाला execute होगा। अभी मैं ऐसा भी लिख सकता हूं, एल्स, सो ये वाला एल्स जो इफ और एल्स आर मैंडेटरी, if case well not mandatory, you can always have something like if also. So for in Java you can have something like this also, okay, if a greater than b, then only execute this line, else nothing to be executed. Let's see. Okay, कुछ भी execute नहीं हुआ क्योंकि ये condition वैलिड नहीं हुई। अगर ये कंडीशन वैलिड हो जाती है, a इज लेस देन b विच इज ट्रू, तो ये लाइन एग्जीक्यूट होगी। ठीक है, a ग्रेटर देन b, और इधर मैं एल्स इफ डालता हूं साथ में, a इक्वल इक्वल्स b, सो अभी कौन सी लाइन एग्जीक्यूट होगी?
एल्स वाली।
A equal equal B.
या else if वाली,
Else if.
करेक्ट, राइट, ओके। और अगर मैं a लेस देन भी डालता हूं तो लास्ट वाली लाइन एग्जीक्यूट होगी। ओ सॉरी, दैट डजंट चेंज, क्या बोल रहा था मैं, हाँ, अगर मैं a इज, इसको मैं 200 कर देता हूं तो लास्ट वाली एग्जीक्यूट होगी। ओके, सो दिस इज व्हाट इफ एल्स इफ ब्लॉक लुक्स लाइक। सो मंडे को हम लूप्स करेंगे, फॉर लूप, फिर हम फंक्शंस वगैरह को देखेंगे, एंड देन वंस वी आर कंफर्टेबल, फिर शायद मैं चाहूंगा कि आप लोग थोड़ा कुछ प्रैक्टिस करें लॉजिक लिखने की, एंड देन वी विल मूव टू ऑब्जेक्ट्स। बाय द वे, मुझे नहीं मालूम अभी कौन सी जावा सीखने के लिए, अब तो ऑनलाइन ट्यूटोरियल्स वगैरह अवेलेबल हैं। जब हम थे तो इंटरनेट इतना वो नहीं था, जब मैं, तो मैंने पैट्रिक नॉर्टन की जावा यूज करी थी सीखने के लिए बहुत पहले। I don't know nowadays what is the trend, whether you people sometimes buy book or use internet. I think internet में tutorials आसानी से available है, you don't have to buy books, so it will be better if you do practice of what you have been doing. And मुझे सही में अच्छा लगा पार्टिसिपेशन के साथ जो हुआ, और आप लोग ने डेटा टाइप्स वगैरह के बारे में पहले ही पढ़ा था, और यू गिव मी द आंसर्स, सो कंटिन्यू लाइक दिस एंड होप टू टॉक टू यू ऑन मंडे देन, बाय।